I'm John, 76 years old, and today I want to speak directly to you about the harsh realities of aging. I'm not sharing this to complain or to gain your sympathy, but to help you see clearly what lies ahead so you can prepare yourself and those you love. Some of what I say may send a chill down your spine, but facing the truth is what will help you cherish each remaining day. Protect your health, preserve your independence, and live with deeper meaning. If you're over 50, or if you're caring for your parents or grandparents, what I share today will make you see life through a very different lens. And you are watching Next Chapter 50, where the second half of life becomes a brand new beginning. At 76, the first thing that truly shocks me is realizing how little time I have left. A whole lifetime has already passed so quickly that sometimes I can hardly believe I have arrived here. And then it strikes me that the days ahead will never be more than the years behind. When this awareness comes, I begin to see time through a completely different lens, no longer as an endless flow but as finite grains of sand in the hourglass of human life. Each passing day becomes precious, not only because it offers me another chance to live, but also because it may be the last time I experience things I once took for granted. I find myself wondering whether my recent trip was my final journey abroad, whether the last visit with family was our final gathering, whether this very morning might be the last time I wake up in the comfort of my familiar home. That thought is frightening, yet it also awakens me deeply, reminding me that everything is fragile and nothing is guaranteed. Because of this, I have learned to treasure every moment, every meal, every conversation, every handshake, every embrace, even the smallest acts that once seemed insignificant. When you know you do not have much time left, you stop postponing, you stop waiting for another occasion, you stop dreaming of a far-off tomorrow. Instead, you learn to live fully right here, in the present, and savor everything you have, because you never know if it might be the very last time. Health eventually stops being just a priority and becomes the single foundation that determines whether you can go on living independently. Wealth, status, or possessions cannot make up for a failing body. Every medical checkup or blood test carries a sense of anxiety because one number out of range can shake your peace of mind and hint at something more serious. Sleep patterns change in unpredictable ways. Sometimes you wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning and cannot fall back asleep, your body feeling heavy while your thoughts will not rest. The signs of aging show most clearly in the heart, the eyes, and the ears. Many people undergo cataract surgery to keep their vision, while others rely on hearing aids to stay present in conversations. Driving, once a symbol of freedom and independence, becomes more difficult as slower reflexes, weaker eyesight, and diminished hearing make every trip feel riskier. Long journeys grow rare, and the car spends more time in the garage than on the road. The advanced safety features in modern vehicles can offer some reassurance, yet they also remind you that things have changed. All of this makes health the central concern, shaping daily life from how well you sleep, to how far you can move around, to whether you can still trust yourself to remain independent. Independence in later life becomes fragile and can be taken away by something as small as a single mistake. One fall, one careless decision, or one seemingly minor accident can completely alter your life, turning someone who was once healthy and self-reliant into a person dependent on family or professional care. That is why I have learned to reduce risks in everything I do each day. I no longer climb tall ladders to fix things around the house, because one slip could mean a broken hip and the end of walking freely. I also avoid going out in wet weather or walking on slippery ground, knowing that even a small fall can take months to heal at this age, and sometimes full recovery never comes. Being cautious does not mean giving up or hiding from life, but rather choosing to live wisely in order to protect my independence. I know my body is not as flexible as it once was, and my reflexes are slower, so every choice requires more careful thought. From daily routines to exercise to simple movements, safety is always my first concern. Preserving independence means taking responsibility, knowing your limits, and refusing to put yourself in situations that might force you to become a burden on those you love. These careful decisions allow me to continue living life on my own terms, doing the things that bring me joy, and holding on to the freedom that gives life its true meaning. If you enjoyed this video, press subscribe. If not, press like. Memory becomes less reliable with age, and small mistakes begin to happen more often, sometimes so subtle yet unsettling that they shake your confidence. There are moments when I walk into a room and suddenly cannot remember why I went there, or times when I forget the name of someone I have known for years, even someone I see regularly. These lapses are brief, but the frustration they bring lingers longer than the mistake itself, and they serve as reminders that my mind no longer works with the same sharpness it once had. To cope with these changes, I rely heavily on checklists and reminders. Writing things down has become a habit I never thought I would need, but now it feels essential for keeping track of tasks and daily responsibilities. I also depend on my spouse, and together we check on each other in small ways, such as asking whether we remembered to take a phone, lock the door, or bring necessary items before leaving the house. It feels like teamwork, and without that support, simple mistakes would be harder to manage. What truly unsettles me, however, is the fear that these minor slips could be early signs of something larger, like dementia. I have watched close friends suffer from it, and the memory of their decline makes me worry whenever I forget something important. I remind myself that occasional forgetfulness is normal, yet the shadow of what I have witnessed always lingers in the back of my mind. This fear pushes me to stay alert, to take better care of my mental health, and to cherish every day that my memory still serves me well. One of the hardest realities of growing older is witnessing friends and neighbors pass away, and in a retirement community, this experience becomes even more frequent and unavoidable. People you once saw every day, those who shared meals, conversations, and laughter, suddenly are no longer there, and the empty spaces they leave behind serve as constant reminders of the fragility of life. Over the span of just a few years, I have seen several people around me go, sometimes couples who both passed within a short time of each other, sometimes individuals who seemed fine one season and were gone the next. Each loss brings sadness, but it also brings a sharper awareness that death is not an abstract idea, waiting in some distant future, but a reality that draws closer with each passing year. When you watch people you once visited, celebrated holidays with, or waved to from across the street slowly disappear, the concept of mortality becomes more personal and more frightening. It is no longer something that happens only to strangers on the news or names in an obituary. It happens to people you know, to those you care about, and it reminds you that one day it will also happen to you. The grieving never fully fades, but it reshapes the way you see your own life, making each moment more urgent and precious. It also forces you to reflect on your relationships and how you spend your time, knowing that the people you love most are not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. This constant confrontation with loss is painful, but it is also a teacher, reminding you that life is finite and that every shared moment should be valued while it lasts. As the years pass, relationships become more valuable than anything else, and their importance grows with each stage of aging. A marriage that has lasted more than 52 years creates a deep sense of gratitude and awareness that time together is limited, which makes every shared moment feel more meaningful. Sitting with my spouse, talking about old memories, and laughing at stories we have told many times before gives me comfort and joy in a way that material things never could. It is not only about preserving the bond we already share, but also about appreciating the simple fact that we are still here for each other after so many decades. Beyond marriage, family ties also take on new weight. Time has a way of pulling siblings in different directions, each one living their own life. But in later years, there is often a desire to reconnect. I found myself reaching out to my brother, with whom I had grown distant over the years, and through that effort, we managed to rebuild our relationship. Working together on a shared project gave us not only a reason to spend time side by side, but also a chance to rediscover who we are as people, beyond the roles life assigned us. That experience reminded me that relationships can be healed even after long silences, and that it is never too late to make amends or create new memories. At this stage of life, relationships are not about proving anything or gaining advantage. They are about love, connection, and cherishing what time remains with the people who truly matter. These bonds become the anchor that keeps life meaningful and worth living. Take a sip of tea, breathe deeply, and stay with this video as we reflect together. If this touched your heart, type the word peace in the comments. If it touched your mind, type clarity. With age comes a shift from accumulating to letting go, and it is a change that feels both liberating and sobering. There was a time when buying new clothes, gadgets, or adding to collections felt exciting, but now the desire for more things fades, and the focus turns toward experiences and memories that carry deeper meaning. I find myself less interested in owning and more interested in living, whether that means enjoying a trip, sharing a meal with loved ones, or simply sitting quietly in peace. At the same time, I look at the possessions I already have, especially collections built over decades, and begin to wonder what will become of them when I am gone. Questions arise about whether to donate them to a museum, pass them on to family, or sell them so they find new homes. This process of deciding what to do with my belongings becomes part of simplifying life, reducing clutter both physically and mentally. There is a certain courage required to release what once seemed so important, but doing so creates space for clarity and calm. Alongside this change in priorities, I also realize how financial resources impact quality of life in these later years. The less money you have, the more every financial decision matters, shaping choices about healthcare, living arrangements, and opportunities for enjoyment. Managing money wisely becomes part of ensuring independence and dignity, not for the sake of wealth, but for the freedom it allows. Letting go of accumulation and embracing simplicity teaches me to value what is truly meaningful, to focus on living fully rather than owning more, and to find peace in knowing that experiences and relationships matter far more than possessions ever did. Facing end-of-life decisions is never easy, yet it becomes an important responsibility as the years advance. It is not about giving up, but about preparing wisely, ensuring that your wishes are known and respected when you may no longer be able to speak for yourself. Updating a will is the first step, making sure that what you leave behind is clearly directed to those you choose. Beyond that comes the creation of medical directives, sometimes called advanced care instructions, which explain how you wish to be treated in critical situations. Decisions such as whether or not to be placed on life support, whether to accept resuscitation, and how far to extend medical intervention all deserve careful thought. These documents remove the burden from loved ones, who otherwise would be left to guess at what you might have wanted. Just as important is having a conversation with your family about appointing a healthcare representative, someone you trust to carry out your decisions. It is not always comfortable, but talking about burial or cremation, the type of memorial or celebration of life you prefer, and how you want your passing to be honored is necessary. Holding these conversations early, perhaps during a family gathering, ensures that everyone understands and accepts your wishes. It prevents conflict, reduces confusion, and gives peace of mind to both you and your family. Facing these choices directly allows you to approach the future with calm instead of fear. Rather than seeing it as dwelling on death, it becomes an act of love and responsibility, giving clarity to those who will remain. End-of-life planning brings dignity and control, ensuring that your voice is heard even in your final chapter. One of the greatest challenges of aging is resisting the temptation to become a grumpy old man. It is easy to fall into negativity when the body slows down, health problems accumulate, and frustrations build. But carrying bitterness only makes life heavier. I remind myself daily to avoid the attitude of a know-it-all, the habit of always trying to prove that my experience makes me wiser than those younger than me. Younger generations do not need constant lectures, and I do not need to turn every story into proof that I have been there and done that. Letting go of that urge keeps relationships healthier and conversations more enjoyable. Another conscious effort is limiting arguments. At this stage of life, I know most debates change nothing, so why waste precious energy fighting to be right? Choosing patience instead of conflict creates peace both for me and for those around me. Even something as small as smiling in photographs becomes important, because age can make a neutral face look stern or angry. A simple smile softens the image and reflects the positivity I want to carry forward. Chronic health problems are common at this age, but they do not have to define my mood. Staying positive, grateful, and engaged in life helps me live with dignity and joy despite physical limitations. The real victory is not in proving others wrong or holding on to irritation, but in showing kindness, in keeping a light heart, and in refusing to let aging turn me into someone bitter. By choosing positivity and humility, I preserve not only my own peace, but also the warmth of my connections with others. If this video inspired you, hit like and subscribe. Comment yes if you agree, no if you don't. Reaching this stage of life brings a clarity that was harder to see when I was younger, a recognition of what truly matters and what does not. The endless drive to compete, to climb higher, To collect titles or achievements no longer holds meaning because I have already walked that road and realized that success measured by comparison fades quickly. What remains important now is love, the strength of relationships, and the quiet joy of gratitude. Instead of chasing recognition or worrying about impressing others, I focus on nurturing the bonds that give life depth. Time spent with family and friends, moments of laughter, shared meals, and simple conversations carry more weight than any past victory ever could. Gratitude becomes a daily practice, an anchor that keeps me steady when health wavers or when losses come. I find peace in looking back, with appreciation for the journey, and forward with hope for each day I am given. The noise and drama of competing, arguing, and striving for approval no longer deserve my attention because they rob me of the precious time I still have. Choosing to live without that clutter allows space for serenity and meaning. What truly matters now is the ability to enjoy the present moment without distraction, to give love freely and accept it with humility, and to appreciate the gift of still being here. This shift in perspective is not about giving up. It is about finally seeing life with wisdom, letting go of what never really mattered, and holding on tightly to the things that do. I understand that each person has their own journey, but there are certain realities of aging that most of us must face. If you are in your 70s or have loved ones going through this stage, I invite you to leave a comment, share your experiences, and express your thoughts because your story may bring comfort and connection to others. In the next video, I will talk about the unexpected joys and values that come with being 77, reminding us that alongside the challenges, there are still many things in life to be deeply grateful for. Hit subscribe if you want more content like this. Comment more if you're ready for the next one.